Welcome back to Set Streets and Eats. I'm Chris Bauer. This weekend I am in Bangor, Maine. I am here to check out some really cool sites that are from a very famous author, and that author is named Stephen King. Stephen King famously lives here and is from Maine and has featured Maine, especially Bangor, in many of his novels. And Bangor actually is the inspiration behind Derry, Maine, which is where the It novels are set. And I'm going to take you around and show you some of the really cool landmarks they have dedicated for Stephen King here and some of the inspiration that Stephen King used in a lot of his stuff. And we're going to see where he lives and maybe even get some good food. So I hope you come along with me. Let's travel.
I'm Chris Bauer, and I am an art slinger. I travel around the U.S. selling artwork at comic and anime conventions. And while I'm there, I like to check out cool sites, eat great food, and see all the places my favorite movies and TV shows are made. Welcome to Sets, Streets, and Eats.
Hey guys. So one of the things that Bangor is very proud of and is known for is the birthplace of Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan, of course, is the mythical giant lumberjack, which of course Maine is known for lumbering. That's basically why it was settled. It's one of its oldest industries here. And there's a lot of different places that lay claim to Paul Bunyan, but they claim the actual birth certificate of Paul Bunyan. So this is there's a city of Minnesota with the same claim, and I was just stopped by a huge statue in Northern California of Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. But anyway, so since 1959, they have had this Paul Bunyan statue standing here in the city. Now, that's all well and good for Bangor. I think that's a really cool thing, but I'm out here specifically because it ties in to Stephen King's It. So back when he was writing It, back in the mid-'80s, Stephen King famously put in a scene where this statue, this very one, came to life. And this is the very one he was thinking of when he wrote it. It's not very far from his home, and right here downtown Bangor. And that's why he included it. And they brilliantly bring it to life for It Chapter 2. And you can already tell from its most recent chapter, Chapter 2, the movie, this is basically the same statue. Now, they did not film here. They filmed in Canada, but there were certain things from Bangor, or Derry, as it's known in the Stephen King universe, that they used, and this is one of them. It's identical, has the same weapons. He came alive, attacked Bill Hader. It was a very intense scene, and the statue has been standing here for many, many decades, and it's pretty neat, but it looks straight out of the movie. It's pretty cool. I think he's gonna come alive. That would suck, man. That'd be terrifying. Let's leave. Hey guys, so I am at Mount Hope Cemetery here in Bangor, And this place is significant as being the second oldest garden cemetery in the nation. It was established in 1834, the same year that Bangor was incorporated as a city. I'm here for a specific reason though, because this cemetery was used in the Stephen King classic Pet Sematary, and it was used in a scene that he was in, and I am going to show you the exact spot, plus a couple other cool little tidbits.
And now, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and comfort you and lift you up and give you peace. Amen.
Rachel not feeling well? Well, just a touch of the flu.
She's in bed.
So, the scene that Stephen King is the minister of the funeral in Pet Sematary happened right behind me. This empty spot right here is where they had set up Gage's casket, and all the actors were in the family was at the funeral. You can clearly see the plumber grave right there. The large gravestone with that cross right in the middle of it is right in front of the casket, or to the front right of the casket. Anyway, this is a significant spot that they picked for this. Not only is it, of course, quite scenic and lovely, it's a beautiful cemetery, but right here in this spot, within 10 feet, there was two sources of inspiration for Stephen King. One when he was writing It. This little grave right here is where he got the name Georgie from. That's the little boy at the beginning of It that gets his arm ripped off by Pennywise in the sewer. A very infamous scene. The other really cool and just past Georgie, we walk down and you can actually see this gravestone in the Pet Sematary scene where Stephen King's in the scene, which is really cool. But this is the grave of Carrie. This is where it has been sourced from. It has been said, the lore of Stephen King is that the Carrie name came from this gravestone. And in relation to the Carrie stone is the front part of the Pet Sematary scene, so you can actually see it in the angle. You just can't read it on the movie, but it's still pretty cool that it's in the scene. That's basically the scene I think of as soon as I see this grave, is the hand coming out at the end. I mean, it gets you, especially when you're a kid when you watch it. But it's kind of obvious that it's coming. But it still gets you every time. That hand. Carrie's hand. So right after Lewis and the family walk away from the cemetery scene, they do a scene right here by the stairs. You can it's definitely camera's basically on Lewis, but I'll show you a shot of it. But you can see the stairs all going up behind it, and up to where the establishing shot was made for the scene. All right. All this sightseeing is getting me a little famished. And since I'm in Maine, I obviously have to try a local favorite. So it would be criminal if I didn't get a lobster roll while I was in Maine. And if you're in Bangor, the best place to get it is the Eagle's Nest. Thank you. So the Eagle's Nest has been here in Bangor for many years, decades even, and they've been serving up lobster rolls for the locals and for people coming down from Canada. Anyone that comes to Maine, especially northern Maine, where Bangor is, knows about the Eagle's Nest. And when you ask locals or do any type of web search whatsoever about where to get the best lobster roll here, they always say Eagle's Nest right away. I'm pretty excited to try this. Just a little diner right off the highway. Of course, it's got this view. Just a little river. Not a bad view for lunch. So this is the lobster grilled cheese. Really tasty. That's fantastic.
No, it doesn't matter.
That's so good. I believe it's Gouda cheese. Gouda cheese and the butter of the lobster. Lobster definitely has the butter flavor. It's definitely been saturated. Oh man. That's dynamite. Ooh. It's Munster cheese on it. Munster lobster and butter. Doesn't get any better than that. Good and hot. This is a traditional lobster roll. It has a lot on it. Lightly coated in mayo. It's gonna be the best. That's good. That's really good. So much lobster in that sandwich. It's pretty great. Now I usually prefer the hot butter lobster version of the lobster roll, but the cold mayo version is obviously traditional. And this is really, really good. You can taste how fresh everything is. I think I still prefer the more buttery version as opposed to the mayo, but this is delicious. Eagle's Nest is pretty good. Come check it out. So right downtown Bangor is a really cool store that unfortunately didn't make it through the pandemic, or at least it's still closed. And that's Gerald Winters and Son. And it's a Stephen King dedicated bookstore and novelty store. Basically anything you can think of Stephen King, they sell it, or did. But they've got some really awesome window displays here. Georgie's making a tough choice. He's got his little paper boat. Only one arm though. And then a really awesome scene from Psycho. So they've got the office with Bates Motel pictures and little office there with the doorway going into the bathroom. Janet Leigh's suitcase. Oh, even cool Bates Motel stationery. And then it's Mother. It's pretty cool. So behind me is this Thomas Hill Standpipe. This overlooks Bangor, Maine, the downtown area. It's on a beautiful hill. It will probably look recognizable for a reason. So this has long been, there's a little park right here at the base of the Standpipe over here with a couple of park benches. They may have been rearranged over the years, but this is the park that, as legend goes, a lot of it was written by Stephen sitting on a park bench right here with the old water tower, which is what this is, by the way. This is the water tower that services Bangor. It was built in the 1890s, I believe, and holds over 1 million gallons of water. But you can, do tours on stuff up to the top of it. But as legend goes, he would come here, this is in his neighborhood, he would sit on the park benches, think, write, all that. And so a lot of the inspiration for Derry, which is Bangor, of course, comes from this area, this park. And they even used this in the movie. Again, Derry was filmed outside of Toronto. I forget the name of the little town, but that stood in for Bangor, so they filmed it in Canada. But they took different things like the Paul Bunyan statue, the Standpipe, and then they digitally recreated them, put them into different scenes for the movie. So this was in, I know it was in chapter 1, it may have been in chapter 2 as well, but they just digitally put it in when the losers would be out riding their bikes. You can definitely see it in at least one, possibly 2 scenes. It's a pretty cool place to be, somewhere where such a literary classic was written, or at least imagined. I think those, the little awnings, the natural awnings in the side of the building over the windows are really cool looking, very distinctive too. I don't know if I've seen that before. That looks pretty neat. Just part of the wall. You can kind of imagine Stephen King sitting on this park bench with a notepad, writing ideas for the losers, riding their bikes around Derry, trying to avoid the fear of it. Bangor is absolutely beautiful. Everything here is pretty dated, which is awesome. Dated in a great way. Just all the homes are old. The motel I'm staying at is very old. I don't know. It's just, it reminds me of northern Michigan, which obviously I have very fond memories of it growing up in Michigan, going up north, and it being it's very dated in a great way. So over the years in different interviews, Stephen King has talked about his process of writing and a lot of walks around the neighborhood he lives in here in Bangor. But he has cited a specific sewer grate that was the inspiration behind it. And that is right here at the corner of Union and Jackson Streets. This is in his neighborhood, and he has talked about this very circular grate itself was the thing that made him think of Pennywise down in the sewer. Now, obviously that was 3 decades ago, so I'm sure the sewer looks probably a little different, but it is as it's described in the book. And of course they changed it for the movie so they could actually have an actor down there. But it's still pretty cool that the inspiration for such a pivotal, I mean, it's made me look at sewers differently every day of my life, basically. Well, that and obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because the Foot Clan could just fit right down them. It's pretty impressive. Anyway, Pennywise is down there. It is down there. It. Terrifying. Right behind me is Stephen King's house. It sits right here in the heart of Bangor, overlooking downtown. It's a beautiful old Victorian mansion and a really cool place to stop for all Stephen King fans. Just come by, pay your respects, enjoy his yard sculptures and gates. Three-headed dragon. Letter K. I don't remember when he bought this house. It was back in the 80s, but I know that several years later they also bought the house next door, and that's actually where he does a lot of his writing. That's his office and his library now. So he does a lot of his writing in there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful rock in this gorgeous little town. It's pretty cool. One of the really cool features of his yard is this old tree stump. So for many years behind me, the tree was about a 20-foot tall stump until about 2 or 3 years ago. King had an artist come in and sculpt the stump into absolutely this gorgeous one-of-a-kind sculpture. It's got books and animals, and I'm sure nods to his different movies and characters. It's absolutely gorgeous.